What are the early psychological indicators of a scam? A little too much flattery, a little too much trust. Sound familiar? Huh?
Well, I'd recently moved to London, and I think that is part of what we should be bringing into our KYC. I was not viewed as a vulnerable person. I had a master's. I was a young woman. I was just on Tinder, but I was new in London. I had no family and friends around me. So when I matched up with this guy, I just felt incredibly lucky. He was the CEO of a big diamond company, and we met in person several times, and he became my boyfriend. Unfortunately for me, he was in a very dangerous position at his job because he's gotten threats from his competitors, but everything was going to be fine. Unfortunately, nothing went better. Just went worse. And after a while, he said that he couldn't use his credit cards anymore because his enemies could see where he was. Hindsight is a gift here. You know, the amount of questions I should have asked. I always think about the five whys a lot of times. If we ask, but why are you in this position? If you continue to ask the why questions and people are lying, it won't make sense. So I wish I would have done that, but I didn't because I trusted him. So I gave him a credit card and he started to use it. Fortunately for me, I got a lot of credit because he employed me in his company, and those were fake. So at the end of it, I had in the end taken up 9 loans and over £200,000 in just 54 days. So it was an incredible amount of money. The interest on these loans were super high. So I had to both sell my flat, I had to file for bankruptcy, I was made a suspect with the UK police, and I was taken to court by 4 banks in Norway because I couldn't pay my debt. So my journey afterwards, and that is why I'm always trying to protect people from re-victimization and what can happen afterwards, is hugely important, because the fraud was one thing. That was 6 months. I'm still bankrupted. That's 7 years after. I can't get a credit card. I can't get a mobile phone on a payment plan. If I rent, I have issues. These are very long-term problems that you have, of course. But of course, the emotional part as well, where, well, yeah, I thought he was my boyfriend, and kind of he cheated on me as well because he had a lot of other women that he was boyfriend with. So I think that as well is another layer to these type of crimes that very few people are really listening to, because it's more about the money lost. Because I think when this happened to me, the question I got the most was, how could you do this? And I really wanted to rewire the questions, not how I could do this, but how could he do this? Why was it so simple and easy for him to travel around the world on a fake passport? How could he use my credit card? How could he pay with my credit card on sites where he shouldn't have? There were just so many where I wish there was more friction, more stops, more time to pause, more time to have a breather, because they put you under so much pressure and stress that you're not thinking clearly. So that is the short form of it. But yeah, because when I wasn't taken seriously, when a lot of fraud victims, we go and try to report it to the police, sometimes they view that as civil. This was your boyfriend, so he couldn't have defrauded you. Well, I mean, like, people will do a lot to defraud people. They will pretend to be your boyfriend. It's the intent, but it's difficult to prove intent. How do you prove that someone didn't love you if they say, well, I did? And I think that is what we're up against. So I decided to go to the press when I felt that no one was taking my story seriously. That was back in 2019. And then the Netflix documentary came in 22. So I recommend everyone to watch it. I think it's beautifully made. I think it shows the true consequence, what happens afterwards, how you're feeling. I can say I was put into acute psychiatric ward by my mom because she didn't dare to take care of me anymore because she was scared what I was going to do, because I knew I'd lost everything. And I think my worst fears came true when the police went after me and the banks went after me and looked at me as the culprit here, where I say, like, I think we shot ourselves in the foot by doing that for several years, because I can see where we are as a society when this is the number one crime. But I think it's been viewed as victimless. that there are no one that actually is taking the hit. The banks is just reimbursing the money. And I want to say, as an advocate on behalf of victims, I'm super glad that the banks are reimbursing victims, but that I don't want it to happen in the first place.
This Fraud Awareness Week, know the signs. Don't let them win.